And you know what time it is, Bama Nation. You know what time it is. At the end of every Alabama football game, we are bringing you the post-game show. Touchdown. Alabama Magazine's post-game show live from Tuscaloosa with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. But the show is about the man that stirs the drink, the man on the phone lines, my man P-Money, Patrick Dowd. The Crimson Tide improving to 8-0 on the year, getting that 42-13 victory over those Auburn Tigers in the 85th edition of the Iron Bowl, and some redemption here for Alabama, some revenge for the Crimson Tide after losing the game a season ago. And it was a different feeling. Head coach Nick Saban not out there on the field. For the first time in 14 years, he was not on the sideline with the team earlier in the week. He experienced some very mild symptoms for coronavirus, so he was at home in isolation and quarantine, but was still watching the game, cheering, screaming, yelling. We all know how competitive Nick Saban is. He mentioned after the game that there were some moments where he was watching the TV and the play did not go his way. He was in there barking at the TV. I'm pretty sure his wife, Miss Terry, was going, "Baby, Bama's winning, Bama's winning, Bama's winning." But we all know how competitive Nick Saban is. But this was a great moment for Steve Sarkisian. It was an outstanding moment for Sark, showing that the national media that he can still coach, he can still direct, he can still orchestrate things at the highest level. The players rallied around him, played for him. Bama getting that 42-13 win. So Sark getting the victory and Coach Saban instead, and the Crimson Tide improving once again to 8-0 on the year. Next week it will take on the LSU Tigers in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But as we always do in the post-game show, before we take your calls, that's 205-448-1358. And I'm going to call in to let your voice be heard on the post-game show. Give your take, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. We're going to go over some individual numbers here, some statistics from the game, man. First and foremost, how about Mac Jones, Mac Sauce, Mac Drip here in the building? 18 for 26 passing, 302 yards, 5 touchdowns. He had a strong Iron Bowl a season ago. This time around, even better, did not turn the football over, had 5 touchdowns. He joins Tua Tagovailoa and Gary Hollingsworth. How about a flashback name right there? Gary Hollingsworth as one of the 3 quarterbacks in Alabama history with 5 touchdown passes in a single game. But in terms of just the Iron Bowl, Mac stands with Tua Tagovailoa as the 2 quarterbacks that have thrown 5 touchdowns in a matchup against the Tigers. So huge performance there from one Mac Jones leading the offense. At the running back position, you got Najee Harris. Najee in the game, 11 carries for 96 yards, 1 touchdown, had 2 catches for 34 yards. This is the 7th game this season where Harris has over 100 yards from scrimmage, so a productive day from Najee. He had a burst to pay dirt, 39-yard run to the house there. Harris, 17 rushing touchdowns on the year, first in the SEC. And first in all of college football. How about Devontae Smith, y'all? I mean, he has gone above and beyond 2nd and 26. Devontae Smith, 7 catches, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns. He has over 1,000 yards for his 2nd straight year, 1,074 yards. He joins the likes of Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, and DJ Hall as the 4th receiver in the history of the Crimson Tide to have multiple 1,000-yard seasons. Big ups there to Devontae Smith. John Mechie had a 2-touchdown performance, 6 catches for 55 yards. Jaleel Billingsley. You as Alabama fans have been wondering for a minute now, when will this program get a tight end that will remind it of O.J. Howard and Irv Smith? I think it's found it in Jaleel Billingsley. After catching 3 passes for 78 yards against Kentucky, he comes back this week, 2 receptions, 33 yards, 1 touchdown. You can see the talent there and the potential for one. Jaleel Billingsley. Defensively, I thought the tackling much better in this game. Better job tackling. Strong tackling in this matchup. The pressure got to Bo Nix, flushed him out of the pocket. He was running for his life, especially in the second half. 9 quarterback hurries. How about these freshmen? Malachi Moore a pick, Brian Branch a pick, Will Anderson, his first sack of a season. I know it came later on in the year, but better late than never. Dylan Moses back in the stat sheet this week. He had 4 tackles. Christian Harris was everywhere. 8 tackles, a pass breakup, 2 quarterback hurries. Josh Jobe led the team in tackles with 10. Half a tackle for loss, 1 pass breakup. Christopher Allen, I've been preaching about this young man since the summer. He's come in, played great ball this year, 4 tackles, 2 of those for loss, 1 sack, 2 quarterback hurries. Christian Barmore is getting after it. We're starting to kind of see the creatures on this defensive front and the defensive team in general rise that we thought would rise in the preseason. So the guys that we kind of had an idea would be the monsters, they're starting to be the monsters here for this Crimson Tide football program. But we take our first call here on the post-game show, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. What's going on tonight?
Steven, did Auburn lose today?
Yes, Waylon, Auburn did lose today.
They did. Oh, okay. I had another memory lapse. Anyway, I'm glad you mentioned Gary Hollingsworth. I've known Gary for a long, long time. He went through a little scary cancer thing there, and he's got over that and gotten well. And Gary's a good man, a good person for the community of Hamilton here in Winfield, a great family, and Gary Hollingsworth was a good football player at Alabama, a great man anyway. Yeah, the defense showed up today. I'm sort of glad they did. Was Auburn that bad, or did our defense show up that good? I'm gonna let you answer that one. Go ahead.
I'll say this. I mean, I knew the defense was going to be prepared for this game, Waylon, and playing for Coach Saban. We all know that he has such a pull, such a presence on that defensive side of the football. So not having him out there, this group was going to play for him. Yes, Bo Nix is not the most elite quarterback in the world. We get that. But at the same time, as a defense, you still have to go out there, make the plays, and handle your assignments. And I felt like Alabama, once again, showing you that it has truly improved since week 3 of the season against Ole Miss. So proud of, with Coach Golden and Charles Kelly and the group put together. The players on the field played with some passion, played with some heart. They flew around the field. The guys made plays today.
Yeah, they made some great plays that looked good there from what I saw. So we'll see what happens here really against LSU. The only thing that bothers me, do we get out of here with no injuries? That's the biggest issue next week is injuries, because LSU don't have a team that's capable of beating Alabama. I mean, that's just the bottom line. It's not theirs. So we have to worry about major injuries. So we need to keep that in our minds that don't happen and move on. And everybody wanted Florida, and I told you we'd get them in the SEC championship. So hold your breath. It's not going to be long, Stephen. Not long.
Absolutely not long at all. But Waylon, appreciate you calling in the post-game show, my man. We'll see you Monday.
I'll be around Monday. Be good, man. Great game tonight. Be careful. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. We got Waylon sitting here calling to the post-game show. We take our second call of the night. You're live on the post-game show, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. What's going on?
Going on, Stephen? It's your boy, Senator Hines, checking in, brother.
What's happening with you, man?
Man, you know I'm coming with the analysis and the facts, man. Analysis and facts. That's all I do, man. So I don't know if you remember, I said the key was going to be in our front, in the trenches, and how we contained the edges. And we played more man coverage than I was expecting. And I think we found out early that we were going to be able to do that with the pressure that our front four and then that extra fifth guy we were sending on the first couple man blitz calls we had. We were able to get some consistent pressure, man. Like, this literally looked like Quentin Williams freaking coming off the coming in with the second group before he came on the scene as a big junior. You know what I'm saying? His sophomore year when he first came on the scene and he was playing behind all those guys in front of him. And it was just like, I mean, going down the list, Christian Barmore, Justin Boybe, Tim Smith, Fadarian Mathis, DJ Dale, Byron Young, LeBron Ray, all those guys were disruptive tonight. I mean, every one of them guys that got defensive line reps tonight were disruptive. I mean, causing havoc. It was a few busts, on some extended pass plays that Bo Nix ended up scrambling on. But I think the biggest run play we gave up was like 14 yards or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was the biggest run play. And that was because of Dylan Moses kind of filling the hole late and the guy bounced off a tackle. But straight inside runs, man, we held it down today. I'm so proud of our defense. And Mac Jones, he came in. You could tell he was anxious. I said he was nervous in the chat, but, I look at it now. He was very anxious to prove that he can play a mistake-free game and lead this team. Not manage the game, but lead. He made some third and fourth takedown reads tonight that were key in our success and how we were moving the ball. And I'm just proud, man. Sarkisian, he didn't try to do too much. He let the game be played on the field. He caught the game. Pete Golden made some great second half adjustments. Like, we look good, man. I'm way more confident in our defense, man. How you feeling?
I mean, aside from the play where the drive where Auburn ended up getting the touchdown run from Bo Nix there, on that drive, Auburn got a pass interference call, and I'm still wondering should that call held up, because on the play it looked as if Josh Jobe and the wide receiver in question, they were hand checking each other. So normally when you hand check each other, the officials let that ride. But apparently the officiating crew tonight did not let that ride. Josh Jobe was called for pass interference, defensive pass interference. And when they put the play on the big screen, I'm watching, there was nothing out of the ordinary that Jobe did. He was fighting for the ball right there with the receiver. So, Auburn got the pass interference call and ended up cashing in a touchdown there for Bo Nix. But aside from that, this was a defense that tremendously played well. And the wrapping up tackling was fantastic. Daniel Wright, I don't know what has gotten into Daniel Wright since the Ole Miss game, but since the Ole Miss game, even he has raised his level of play.
Play puts me back in the mind of when we had Jackson and oh my God, what was my boy name that played that back end with Jackson? Him and Ronnie Harrison. Oh my God, I know you remember that when Eddie Jackson and Ronnie Harrison was playing strong safety, he was the walk-up safety. What Daniel Wright is doing now, what Ronnie Battle is doing now, man, it's like we just got these athletes are playing and they're not having to think as much. You can tell the adjustments have been made on the defensive side, and Pete Golden is adding on more and more stuff every week. And I think it's a lot to do with how Charlie Strong likes to bring pressure. He really buys into the Nick Saban way of defense, and having that other guidance in your ear, I think helps out a lot. And from what I was told, man, the guys in the booth were on top of it tonight. Just calling out what they were seeing as far as alignment and keys from signals that they were receiving, early on in the game. Gus Malzahn got out coached tonight. For the first time in a long time, in probably the past 3 years, because they did win 2 of them, but we didn't necessarily get out coached. We just beat ourselves. But we out coached Gus Malzahn and that Auburn offense, because they tried to do the eye candy stuff, but our discipline, just assignment football and form tackling was the key to the win, man.
Good win there for the Crimson Tide. Proud of Sark. Proud of Sarkisian. He went out there and filling in for Coach Saban, did his job, and did a great job of making sure that the team didn't get too high, didn't get too low, stayed even keel, but went out there and got a good win, a strong win, covered the spread win over those Auburn Tigers. Senator, man, we appreciate the call into the post-game show. We'll catch you Monday, man.
Always shout out to TDA and the fam, man. We out here, man. I'm talking about Blue Rinse gang. Appreciate y'all showing up to the game day chat. It was fun. Roll Tide, Steven.
Absolutely. Appreciate that call there coming from Senator on the post-game show. We take another call right now in the post-game show. You are live here with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, and the man P. Money. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Stephen? This is Robert from Mobile.
Hey, Robert, what's happening?
Hey, I totally agree with you on that bogus pass interference call. The minute I saw it, I was the same way. I mean, seriously, how's the kids going to learn to play defense if you make a bogus? If they play a perfect defense, you call that, and the ball looked uncatchable too. How far was it out of bounds? So not only did it was
pretty much over the dude's head.
Exactly, and the guy said he was facing the ball. So it wasn't like he was face guarding the defender. But, yeah, okay, whatever. And I thought he was also pretty low class of Gus Malzahn to try and sneak in another garbage touchdown with 2 minutes left in the game. Then the game's out of reach, keeping the starters in there. But I like the way Sarkisian said, all right, you want to keep your starters in? I'm going to put my starting defense back in. Then if that's how you want to play the game, sneak in another touchdown on so your score don't look so bad. But that was kind of what's frustrating us, Stephen, last year with this Auburn team last year winning that game. I know people like say, well, the two pick sixes cost us, but it didn't. They didn't really. Auburn's offense was mediocre at best. Bo Nix is a mediocre quarterback. Usually a mediocre quarterback, Alabama eats for lunch and spits them out. Normally you have to be an elite quarterback playing an elite game to beat Alabama. And when Bo Nix, mediocre quarterback play, beat us last season, okay, that would just be a mind-boggling. Pick sixes or no pick sixes. I should have just made the game a little interesting at worst. But you weren't supposed to win with that. But we made Bo Nix look like we should have made him look last year. Okay, you're mediocre, and because you're mediocre, you got no chance against Alabama. Nick Saban's Alabama team. And that's how. And so, this season was redemption of it. It's how you should have looked last year, Bo, because you were no better last year than you are right now. Our defense just wasn't stepping up to the plate last year the way it is now. And if someone had told me after the Ole Miss debacle of this season that we would hold teams scoreless in the second half until that garbage touchdown Auburn got. I mean, that's like your previous call said, the defense is playing much better and is stepping up, especially in the second half, which is money time. Hey, these teams have, up until that garbage touchdown, nobody scored, and that was against the Alabama subs. So, our second team. So it was definitely a great thing to watch and a great thing to see. It's a great thing to see in there. The only thing I didn't like what Sark did, his game management was outstanding otherwise. He should have had Bryce Young in there on that when we intercepted the ball on the 5-yard line. That should have been Bryce Young handing that ball off and not Mac Jones, which unfortunately we fumbled. And that gave him the garbage touchdown to begin with. And the second team missed a safety that would have prevented Auburn from getting that garbage touchdown too.
Robert, I'm still trying to figure out how in the world did Bo Nix get away from DJ Dale and Christian Barmore? I mean, they're both coming right at him for the safety. He pulls a Houdini act and gets 8 yards out of it. Like, my mind was in left field going, how did that happen?
Yeah, really. I mean, he just shifty. Bo Nix is a shifty runner for a quarterback. And he actually has a pretty good move. That's about all he's good for as far as being a quarterback. He can get a couple of shifty moves every now and then. But okay, that's kept it from being perfect. Otherwise, it would have been a perfect game. But I'm sure. But they did Nick proud. They did us proud. And Devontae Smith, my goodness, he's called the Golden Gazelle for a reason. The guy does run looks like a golden gazelle out there running. My brother was asking me, you think anyone will ever beat his touchdown record as a receiver? I don't know how. For one thing, you have to be as good as Devontae on that level. We have plenty on that level, but you got to be on that level and stay for a year. I don't see many receivers on Devontae's level playing for a year.
He's a special dude, man. He's a special dude, and Smitty has earned everything. He's earned it the hard way. He's earned it the tough way. I'm proud of him, and for him to be in the conversation in terms of receivers having multiple 1,000-yard campaigns, for him to be right there with Judy, Amari Cooper, and DJ Hall, that says a lot about Smitty's work. That says a lot about Smitty's work ethic as a player and just how competitive he really, truly is. But, Robert, man, we appreciate the call, man. Keep listening to the post-game show.
Oh, real quick before I go, like your previous caller said, I hope I'm watching the LSU game. Hopefully, Texas A&M will beat them down so bad that they'll be completely checked out by next weekend, so they don't accidentally hurt one of our players. Because that's all we're worried about. You're not winning. Just don't hurt any of our stars. Okay, man. Good talking with you.
Appreciating that call there from Robert out of Mobile. We got a super chat right here. This comes from Richard G. Appreciate that $5 in the super chat from Richard G. We take another call here in the post-game show. You're live with Stephen M. Smith and the man P-Money. What's going on tonight?
Hey, what's going on, Steve?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Bama 8-0. Got the win for Coach Saban. How about Steve Sarkisian tonight?
Hey. What can I say? I mean, that was a picture-perfect performance. Stepping up. You had all this week. We had several people. Well, Sark. He know the mindset of the team. He know the mindset of Nick Saban, and I want to give a shout out to all the coaching staff, to all the players, offense, defense, special teams. Everybody came out there. They was using the Jedi. They were using the Force tonight. I mean, they was just laser focused. They was laser focused, and they came out there, showed them what Alabama football is all about. They came out there, and they just made the play. They ain't trying to do nothing spectacular. Just making the play. Then that's when something spectacular happened. Just do your job. And Sarkisian, he stepped up. He stepped up big time. And I'm proud. I'm proud of him from where he come from, years ago, and to this point now.
Sarkisian did a great job. The coaching staff did a great job. Players on the field did a firm job. I mean, aside from maybe one or two busted situations or one or two crazy situations on the field, you got to come away with being proud of this football team. And, man, we appreciate the call. Keep listening to the show.
All right.
Absolutely. We got the post-game show, folks, right here after the game. This is the spot you want to be at. Post-game show, Touchdown, Alabama Magazine, with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith and the man Patrick Dowd. We take a call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Hey, roll tide, Steve.
Roll Tide, T. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I called in to talk about this defense and how to talk about loosely the play. It don't feel, but this call. Oh, idiots. Pounding in that game. That's right back up, mouth right, ready to go. Where's the next one? What do you think?
I'm going to say this right now, and it goes back to, once again, 2017 when Smitty first got here. It's the summertime of 2017. It's August. I'm at Bryant-Denny Stadium wearing black pants. I don't know what possessed me to wear black pants. I'm about to pass out in the heat, and I'm talking to Cam Sims. And I asked Cam Sims, Cam, if Calvin Ridley is covered on the play, who do you trust with the football? Cam Sims walks me to the other side of the stadium, points dead at Devontae Smith, and said, Steven, I'll put my life on this. Tay is the guy. Devontae Smith is the guy. And I thought Cam was joking with me, but from watching Devontae Smith grow and mature, I got to give it to Cam Sims. He told me 4 years ago that Devontae Smith was the real deal.
Oh, yeah, Steve. Game knows game, doesn't it? And Tay just gets it done, man. And I appreciate your show, and keep up the good work.
Absolutely, man. You keep listening to the show. Appreciate the call.
Have a good one. Roll Tide.
Absolutely. Got the post-game show here on a Saturday. Alabama getting the 42-13 win over the Auburn Tigers, improving to 8-0 on the year, getting ready to face LSU on next week as the rematch for this game. Saturday, December the 5th in Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We take another call right now. You're live on the post-game show. What's going on tonight? Live on the show. What's going on?
What's up, Steven?
What's happening with you?
Bro, I'm just chilling, man. I'm in Dallas, just loving that Roll Tide roll. How you doing tonight?
Man, doing good. Proud of this team. Proud of the senior class that got it done. And, even without Coach Saban being on the field, on the sidelines, it was weird not seeing him out there. Of course, he would tell you it was weird. He's at home yelling and screaming. I'm pretty sure his wife, Miss Terry, was going, baby, we fine. And Saban's like, I got to do something. But you got to give Steve Sarkisian credit. He stepped up. He emerged. He was able to show Coach, hey, Coach, even with you not being here, I can handle this. I got this. And Steve Sarkisian did the job.
He did, Steve. And I want to thank you, man, because I'm here in Dallas. I'm born and raised in Tuscaloosa, man. I've been in Dallas the last 12 years. And, brother, I appreciate what you do. You keep me informed. You and TDA, I love you. Waylon, you my dude. Love the poems. And I just appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely. This was a good football game. But for you, my man, what stuck out to you tonight in facing Auburn? What were you the most proud of, whether it was offensively or defensively tonight?
I was most proud of the defense, to be honest with you. I didn't want them to let their quarterback get loose with all that Johnny Manziel stuff. And the defense stood strong. They was tired when they gave up that touchdown. I give them that. But other than that, they played a strong game tonight.
They did, and got to give that kudos to Pete Golding, Charles Kelly. Charlie Strong was actually upstairs in the booth, in the box, doing some things up there as well, keeping everybody on their toes. So the entire defensive coaching staff stepped up, and my man, we appreciate the call. You keep listening to the show.
I will do it, brother, and you keep on doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. We got getting some love there from Dallas, Texas, calling into the show. Post-game show, Touchdown Alabama Magazine with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith and the man Patrick Dowd on a Saturday following the Iron Bowl. We take another call right now on the show. You're live with Stephen M. Smith. What's going on right now?
Hey, Stephen, this is Coach Rich, as you call me from Roanoke. How you doing tonight, brother?
We got Coach Rich in the house. How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm feeling good. I've been so worried all week, and I was so proud of our players and our coaches tonight. I mean, we come out there and just destroyed Auburn. Roll Tide. That's just about all I can say, man. How about you?
I'm proud of the way the team played, definitely. I'm proud of Steve Sarkisian for stepping up in a big moment for him. The defensive coaching staff played well. But one of the coolest moments was after the game, Coach Saban was on Zoom call with the media, and you can just tell he was just in pure joy, just smiling, pure joy, and full, like proud grandfather joy. Saban was proud of Sark. He was proud of Golding. He was thrilled for the players, especially the senior class. Like, you could just tell, looking at Saban's face on that Zoom call as he was sitting down, he was truly a proud grandfather, just overjoyed about this team.
Yeah, you're exactly right. There's never a time that I can think of Coach Saban. I'm sure he was at home, and there was a few plays he was just like me, to where he was wanting to scream at the TV and snatch it off and break it. But it reminds me of when my grandfather, when I started to work for myself and I opened up my own business, and my grandfather was not a man of many words like Coach Saban is, and he told me, he said, son, he said, you're going to do good for yourself, and I love you. And he was a man that didn't say I love you much, just like Saban. And tonight, Saban, I guarantee you, he loves his players and his coaches. I am so proud of Sarkisian, man. He sat on the sidelines. He was calm. It didn't come a moment to where he had to, really interfere in the game, but he was cool, calm, and collective. And, man, if he didn't do his job, I am just so proud for the Alabama nation. And, I told Robert tonight that I didn't care if we didn't, win the national championship as long as we beat Auburn. And we done that, and now that it's time for our next step to get up there, beat LSU, conquer them. I hope Bryce plays most of that game. We need to save our goods for the playoffs, and let's get us another national championship. What do you think?
Hey, I'm right there with you, Coach Rich. I am right there with you. So, my man, you take it easy. Appreciate you calling.
Oh, yeah. All right, bro. Well, I'll talk to you next week, man. Roll Tide, baby. Roll Tide.
Absolutely. We got Rich from Roanoke calling in here, giving us a good call here on the post-game show. Crimson Tide taking care of the Auburn Tigers 42-13, improving to 8-0 on the year. Still the number one team in the country as it prepares now for the LSU Tigers next week. Tiger Stadium, Death Valley, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Alabama honored 16 seniors tonight. Prior to the game, Devontae Smith, Brian Robinson Jr., Chris Owens, Miller Forrestall, Alex Leatherwood, just a couple of guys. Joshua McMillan, throw him in there. Ben Davis was also in that group. Just 16 seniors that really, meant a lot to this program and still mean a lot, to this program. They work hard, they fight hard, they play hard, they prepare hard. So proud of those 16 seniors that got honored on today, and the way this team went out there and played in this matchup. But I'm going to say this right here, as you guys are continuing to get your thoughts and calling in, 205-448-1358. Once again, 205-448-1358. I said this earlier. We are starting to see the players defensively, the creatures defensively, that we highlighted in the preseason, right? In the preseason, we highlighted Christian Barmore as a creature on the defensive line. The last couple of weeks, the last few games, he is showing that. We highlighted, big Tim Smith, freshman. No, he was a freshman, but we hired Tim Smith. We highlighted Tim Smith as a potential creature on the defensive line. Tonight, Tim Smith, in the last couple of games, Smith has played like a creature. We highlighted Will Anderson. I know he's a freshman, but we say, hold on now, this Will Anderson young man, this young brother right here, he's nasty, creature right here. Highlighted Will Anderson. Tonight, Will Anderson, 4 tackles, 1 sack, 2 quarterback hurries, 1.5 tackles for loss. You're starting to see some of these guys that you looked at in the preseason and you put a star by and you said, that guy's going to be legit. These players starting to rise right now and being legit. And at the right time, as we're getting deeper into not just the season, but soon heading into the postseason and the college football playoff. And then, boy, the secondary and these 2 freshmen in the secondary, Malachi Moore and Brian Branch, are going to be special for years to come. Malachi Moore and Brian Branch. And I give Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, all the credit on this. Justin Smith found Malachi Moore. He found that young man. Found him, did the day in the life video on him. Justin Smith was reporting on, scouting out, recruiting that young man from day one, and seeing what he has done this year. 3 interceptions on the season. The guy's a complete ball hawk, 6 pass breakups. I'm telling you, he is George Teague mixed with Minka Fitzpatrick reincarnated. It's crazy the ability that Malachi has. And Coach Saban talked about it tonight. One of his strong suits is learning from his mistakes. His ability to learn from his mistakes, be better with each passing play. He undercutted a route from Bo Nix and picked the ball off, took the ball away from the intended receiver. Malachi Morris, a special player. And then Brian Branch was one of those guys in the offseason that once again we highlighted. We said, hey, this young man, Brian Branch from Sandy Creek High School in Tyrone, Georgia, this guy's going to get here. He's going to be a highlight safety, a really dynamic, rangy player. Show tonight with his interception. Dynamic, rangy player. So Malachi Moore, Brian Branch, those two guys going to be really, really special and key there for years to come in the secondary. And another thing I mentioned was I don't know what has gotten in to Daniel Wright, but the last couple of games, the last few games here, ever since the Ole Miss game, he has come around. Daniel Wright has come on since the Ole Miss game. Now, he still loves to just hit. He's continuing to grow in wrapping up and making those tackles, but Daniel Wright has played a whole lot better since the Ole Miss game. And Josh Jobe was on it tonight. 10 tackles for him, led the team. Half a tackle for loss. One pass breakup. I mean, Josh Jobe is looking like a prototypical nickel corner for the NFL. He plays physical, he plays tough, he plays scrappy. Now, there are still times where I look at Josh Jobe and I'm like, Josh, emotional, but not too emotional. Reel it in some, scale it back some. But that's his passion. And a lot of times, Jobe's passion bleeds into the way he plays on the field. But the technique is there, the ability is there, the scheme is there. He's always had all the tools. He just needed to have those things refined on the field, play with that emotion, but don't let that bleed into you creating mistakes there on the field. We got a comment in here from Naomi Lydia. She didn't know Brian Robinson was a senior. Brian Robinson is a senior this year. He came in 2017 with Najee Harris. This is Brian Robinson's senior year with the Crimson Tide, the young man from Tuscaloosa. But folks, 205-448-1358, and I'm going to call in to get your thoughts on the post-game show. Make this your show to get your thoughts in, your questions, your opinions. What did you feel about the game, or how do you feel after this game has ended? So 205-448-1358, and I'm going to call in to get inside of the post-game show, 205-448-1358. But as you guys are getting your thoughts together, we'll look at a couple of these comments and get some questions here from the YouTube chat line. And we'll take a thought here from, we'll take a thought from Ronnie Collier. Ronnie Collier writes in, somebody give Smitty a Biletnikoff award. He's right there. Devontae Smith is right there. Devontae Smith is going to be a finalist for the award. I think if he doesn't win it, it's one of those situations where it's the Bama fatigue again, and no one, people are scarcely trying to see, or people seldom trying to see Alabama on top. If you don't present Devontae Smith the Biletnikoff Award, then there's a serious issue there. But Smitty right now on pace to grab that award with flying colors. His second straight, 1,000-yard season, 1,074 yards on the year, 171 receiving yards, and in this matchup. Anthony writes in, our O-line was dominant. Yes, it was. The Alabama offensive line, I think it gave up one sack of Mac Jones. One sack of Mac Jones by this offensive line. Dominant play from this offensive line. Senator Hines writes in, can we go ahead and give Landon Dickerson Offensive Lineman of the Year? He identifies defensive looks so fast. Senator Landon Dickerson, to me, is what Alabama was missing in 2018. Alabama loves to go out there and recruit a lot of freshmen for the offensive line. And it's great to get the 4- and 5-star guys as freshmen on the line. Absolutely. But in the last few years, the Tide has been fortunate to get great graduate transfers. They've been fortunate to get outstanding grad transfers, and Dickerson is one of those great grad transfers. I mean, of the centers that have played at Alabama under Nick Saban, Antoine Caldwell was elite. William Vallejos was solid. Barrett Jones was Mr. Versatility. Ryan Kelly was highly intelligent. Bradley Bozeman was solid as well. Bama has had some strong centers come to the program. Put Landon Dickerson right up there. Put Dickerson right up there with the rest of that group. Mean, nasty, physical, dominant, tough. I mean, strong, physical guy, and he solidified this offensive line. Dickerson solidified this group when Alabama moved him to center in the 2019 season. He solidified this group. So to me, Dickerson is a first-round pick in my opinion. I mean, Alabama's going to get 2 offensive linemen in that first round. It's going to be Alex Leatherwood and Landon Dickerson. Dickerson accepting his invitation to the Reese's Senior Bowl. Really proud of that young man. So definitely Landon Dickerson, a guy that's big-time factor. Thought we had a call right there, but 205-448-1358. But I'm going to call in to get on the post-game show, 205-448-1358. Senator Hines writes back in, Chris Owens going to be good for us next year, and the Brockemeyer brothers. Chris Owens is a redshirt junior this year. He has a chance to go pro, to get drafted. However, I would like to see Owens return for another year just to show that he is a linchpin, a key cog starter on the offensive line. We got William Dowd here writing in. Bama Online, technician-like. Bama Online is technician-like, and you got to give credit to Kyle Flood. Because Kyle Flood, the O-line coach, there was at one point in time some concern about, is he really a teacher? Is he a finesse coach? Does he not teach these guys how to man block, how to lock on a hat and blow guys off the football, power guys off the football? Is he just a finesse sort of teacher for the offensive line? Well, this season, we are seeing that Kyle Flood is a full-fledged teacher. He's showing you gap blocking, man blocking, zone blocking, putting your hands on guys, and driving them off the football. So that right there, Kyle Flood, got to give him a lot of credit right there for what he's been able to do. Once again, as always, folks, if you want to call in to give your take on the show, 205-448-1358. That's the number right there, 205-448-1358 to get in on the post-game show while the getting's good, as my grandmother would say, God rest her soul. 205-448-1358, the number to call in to get on this show. But as you guys are continuing to get your thoughts lined up here to call in, we got some more comments here in the YouTube chat line. Roll Tide and Rise Up writes in, Sarkisian sure did. He has earned my respect. Sark stepped up. Proud of Sark. He led the team out of a tunnel in warm-ups. He led the team out of a tunnel on the field. He had the game plan set to go. He did not deviate from that game plan. He took shots downfield. He put Mac Jones in situations to be successful. Najee Harris had a good game. It was a great job by Steve Sarkisian out there on the field. Let's see here. Roll Tide and Rise Up writes in, let's give it up for Pete Golding. Pete Golding did a good job also. Got to give it up for Pete Golding. I mean, in the Ole Miss game, it was, is he good enough? Can he operate this offense? Is he way over his head? You know, there were a lot of those questions going out there about Coach Golding. But since the game against the Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, he's been a whole lot better. Way more improved out here on the field coaching this defense. Let's see here. Kerry Hardaway writes in, we have to give Freddie Roach credit that D-line played today. 100%. 100% got to give Freddie Roach that credit. I mean, those guys were fierce. Christian Barmore, Justin Boygby, DJ Dale, Byron Young, Brian Ray, they were all fierce out there. Tim Smith. There was one point in the game, Bo Nix was running for his life. He was running for his life at points in the second half of the Iron Bowl. Now, to me, I would still have loved to have gotten that sack of Bo Nix in the end zone for the safety. I still don't understand how he escaped the clutches of DJ Dale and Christian Barmore at the same time, but he can be elusive. He's got that kind of escapability, like a Johnny Manziel, if you will, but he was able to escape that, but Alabama still got the win there. But we take a call right now. You're live on the post-game show with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. What's going on tonight?
I'm calling back, man. Don't nobody want to talk to you tonight. I think everybody just hung over from this win, man. I think everybody.
They're partying hard, Senator. They're partying hard, man.
Yeah, man. You know I love talking football with you, brother. But what do you think is the biggest take from this game as far as the offensive side? I see we still haven't found anybody that can really put us in a stagnant mode. And I kind of fear for that. Hopefully we get some real pressure going into the third and fourth quarter sometime this year before the playoffs, possibly against Florida. I feel like our defense is resilient. I feel like we'll be able to hold teams under 25, 30 points a game the rest of the way out. But I want to see what happens when the defense can match up with us athletically across the board. Florida, I don't think they necessarily can on the front end, which will open up our run game. But in the secondary, I think they'll compete. I think they'll compete, make us actually, be tighter on some throws. Jones' ability to just fit into these zone reads and these zone coverages, fit the ball in there is just outstanding. I was having a debate with a guy in my sports talk group about, how much better of a quarterback Mac Jones is than Tua. A lot of people let the numbers that Tua put out, get their eyes, blown up. But if you really look at the film, Mac Jones makes the way he plays, the decision he makes is so much more reliable than what Tua did his junior year, And I really think it's been proven time and time again, when we have a quarterback that doesn't mind, sitting in the pocket and making reads, trusting reads, that's when our offense thrives. Whether it's heavy run or balanced attack, leaning more to the pass side. When we have game managers, Jake Coker, A.J. McCarron, Greg McElroy, those guys brought home the natties, So my biggest takeaway from this game is just, the offensive consistency. When are we going to get that team that's going to push us to the third quarter, to the fourth quarter? I wanted to get your thoughts on that. What's your biggest takeaway on the offensive side for this game?
My biggest takeaway would be Alabama starting to find other pieces to get the ball to. Tonight we saw Jaleel Billingsley step up even more. He had 3 catches against he had 3 catches against Kentucky. He comes back 2 or 3 catches in this game, 1 for a touchdown. And Tide fans have been wondering, does Alabama have that tight end that can resemble an O.J. Howard, that resembles an Irv Smith? It's starting to find it in Jaleel Billingsley. You had a catch from Miller Forrestall today, which that was really good. You had catches from John Mechie today, which that's always good. Najee Harris continues to get involved there in the passing game. So starting to find, other pieces within this offense to get involved, to make an opposing defensive coordinator account for somebody else. Now, I would like to see moving forward maybe one of these freshman wide receivers, a Javon Baker, a Trayshawn Holden, a Thiu Jones-Bell, one of those 3 get into the flow of things and be able to pop and show they can do something. I know Javon Baker was out there. He had the block on a screen that sprung Devontae Smith for a first down. But I would like to see at some point, could Alabama get one of these freshman wide receivers to pop?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. I feel like some of those guys are coming out timid, playing behind Devontae Smith. I know for a fact he's the type to encourage everybody to go get theirs. We've seen the little snippets of video and film where they're just constantly competing amongst each other in that wide receiver group. I think it's more about the guys just being comfortable and trusting the system. Javon Baker, he got out there on a couple pass routes, and if he had ran full speed on the stretch play we ran, not the stretch play, but the crossing pattern we like to run, they sent him on a crossing route from the slot out of the H-back, the H-split formation. And he kind of gave up on the route because there was traffic, but if he would have sped through the traffic and read the man coverage that he had, he beat his guy, off the second step out of his break. But he got too caught up in the traffic and just kind of gave up on the play. And it ended up getting dished off to Mechie on the other side. But those are small things that you're going to see these guys start to be able to identify in film. And Sarkisian is big, like you said, big on getting more than one weapon involved. You saw it with how he tried to give Brian Robinson a chance to, put another hit on the Auburn defense in the run game. And then you also saw, like you said, in the passing game, Jaleel Billingsley, he gave him multiple opportunities to create something with a chance, and he capitalized. So I think Baker's the next man up. I'm excited about this next group coming, though, with Baker. Like you said, Jones Bell, Trayshawn Holden. That guy, Holden, is going to be the next Devontae Smith. I'm telling you, I'm calling it right now. The guy is a route technician, and he can climb the ladder. I don't think a lot of the fans have really went back and looked at some of these guys' highlight film or actually some of their game film from last year. But I know for a fact Holden had a game last year. As a senior in high school, Holden climbed the ladder on one play. Just so strong at the point of attack, at getting the ball at the highest point. And when I say that's going to be crazy watching him, Billingsley, Baker, and Bolden going to come back next year. You got Xavier Williams, who's injured right now. It would be awesome to have him back, to have another 5-6 deep rotation at the receiving core.
Absolutely, and definitely for Xavier Williams, want to see him come back stronger because he was a guy that came out of Florida in 2018. He came in with Slade Bolden and Jalen Waddle, and I had a lot of high hope for Xavier Williams and still do. He's a tremendous player in practice. It's just kind of hard at times to crack that force field and get on the field there for Alabama. But, Senator, we always appreciate you giving a quality call, man. We'll see you on Monday.
You already know, brother. Take care. Roll Tide.
Absolutely. We got here on the Postgame Show, people. Postgame Show, Touchdown, Alabama Magazine. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, and the man P. Money live with you in Tuscaloosa after the Iron Bowl, the 85th Iron Bowl. Alabama getting the 42-13 win over the Tigers, improving to 8-0 on the year. Still the number one team in the country. Now preparing for the LSU game, which is set for next week at Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for the Alabama LSU matchup. But another thing to me that stuck out the night was the variation of throws that Mac Jones was able to make. We saw, the pump fake that he did to cause the Auburn secondary to bite, and the throw to Devontae Smith. They got everybody, eyeballs going right there. But then the throw to Jaleel Billingsley, the pass where he's able to put touch on the football, right, and loft that ball over to Jaleel Billingsley. There were NFL scouts watching that game that looked at that throw, and they're like, okay, we can see why so many people are now starting to consider Mac Jones is a first-round pick. May not early first-round pick, but we're starting to see why so many people are looking at Mac right now as a first-round pick, seeing the variation of throws that he has put down the field, seeing the touch that he has in the football, the nays that he has in the football, him being able to guide that ball even to the tightest of windows and show the velocity to get the ball and stick into the hands of these receivers. That's fantastic. They're coming from Mac Jones. But we'll take a couple of thoughts here in the chat line. This one coming from Brayton F. To talk about Dylan Moses. Dylan was back in the stat column this week after not being in there last week against Kentucky. Dylan Moses, 6 tackles, had 1 pass breakup, had 2 solo stops. Dylan was back in the stat column this week, which is big for him, which is good for him, and needed that to happen. Needed that for his confidence. Needed a game where he can stick his nose into that trash heap, make tackles, run downfield, make plays, get himself back into being that productive guy that we all know he is capable of being. So Dylan Moses, with 6 tackles, got himself back into the stats column there. Continuing with some thoughts here in the chat line. Let's see here. We got a thought here from AJB. AJB writes in, Will Anderson was getting comfy in Auburn's backfield. Will Anderson was making plays tonight. Got his first career sack, and we all knew this was coming, right? We all knew this was coming in this matchup. We all knew Will Anderson's first sack was coming. I mean, he was getting close all season long. He was always maybe a foot away or an inch away, but he was always getting close all season long. In this game, he was finally able to cash in getting to the quarterback. 4 tackles, 1 sack, 1.5 tackles for loss, and 2 quarterback hurries there for Will Anderson. Najee Harris in that cutback touchdown run was sweet at 39 yards, showing the burst, the explosion, the acceleration to break those long touchdown runs, something that he did not have prior to this year, but putting the work in the offseason has definitely helped him become wildly successful here this season and improving his draft stock in terms of a National Football League. Ronnie Collier writes in, Christian Harris is outplaying Dylan Moses statistically. Statistically, Christian Harris is having an incredible year. Flying around the field, getting his nose in there, making plays. But not just statistically, Christian Harris last year, him playing in the plays of Dylan Moses and Joshua McMillan, Christian Harris, the experience he got last year has put him slightly ahead of Dylan Moses, and just in terms of, I guess, the awareness on the field, if that makes any sense. Christian Harris having a full year out there that Dylan Moses did not have out there. He's a bit more ahead of what Pete Golding wants to do in terms of being a defensive coordinator than what Dylan Moses is. Let's see here. This thought comes in from Aaron. Will Anderson could double his numbers if he held on to their foot. True. If Will Anderson could hold on and maybe trip a guy up, trip a quarterback up or two, definitely could have bigger stat numbers. But he's having a good year this year, having a strong year, and is only going to get better. Let's see here. Samuel Wilkinson writes in, Stephen, I was just utterly disappointed to not see much time for the freshman wide receivers. No thanks to B-Rob's fumble that led to the long Auburn drive. Other than that, it was a great game. I would like to see at least one of these true freshmen pop. I really want to see this. I mean, you bring in a Javon Baker who's got physicality, who's got great hands, he's got speed, he can run routes, he's just continuing to grow some. You got Trayshawn Holden, who's got size at 6'3". You got Thaiu Jones-Bell, who's 6 feet, but he kind of reminds you of he's kind of in that same body mode of an Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Calvin Ridley, kind of got that same type of body type. So I would love to see at some point one of these true freshman receivers pop, because they got a lot of ability on the outside. AJB writes in, didn't Malachi Moore get a pick? Yes, he did. Malachi Moore got a pick. And also Brian Branch got an interception as well. So both true freshmen, Moore and Branch, got picks in the football game. And both players, as I mentioned earlier, will be special for years to come. Moore is already kind of in the mold of a George Teague meets Minkah Fitzpatrick type of player. You see the ball skills, you see the instincts, you see the ability, you see the want to make plays, the want to and the desire to get better. Malachi Moore, a special player here on the rise. And when you got, older guys and, former players and former NFL players already talking about you, Tyrann Mathieu, Ryan Clark, who played for the LSU Tigers and played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's now at ESPN. And also Marlon Humphrey, former Alabama defensive back, who was with the Baltimore Ravens. These guys are all talking about this dude, Malachi Moore, is something special. Ronnie Collier writes in, any update on Jalen Waddle coming back this season? The last I heard, Ronnie, on Jalen Waddle, out of the cast, in the walking boot, way ahead of schedule, starting rehab. The idea is Bama could possibly have him back, potentially have him back in time for the college football playoff. That's the last that I have heard. As I'm continuing to get information, the last that I've heard, though, Alabama could potentially have Jalen Waddle back in time for the college football playoff, especially if he continues to hit the rehab and go about the training like he can and like the team doctors would like for him to do. Let's see, Aaron writes in, Eddie Jackson and Minkah have returned in the form of Moore and Branch. You can say that. You could say Eddie Jackson and Minkah have returned in the form of Moore and Branch. There is some validity in that statement. We gotta continue to watch them grow, continue to watch Moore and Branch grow and develop, because Eddie and Minkah, those some big names. When you talk Money Minkah and you talk Eddie Pick Six Jackson, those are some big names. So Moore and Branch, they're good. They're gonna continue to grow, absolutely. AJB writes in at Stephen Smith, why don't the college football committee scrap the conference title games, throw in a 2-week bye, and beta test expanding the playoff to 8 and make everyone happy, since it was a crazy season? Everyone's talking about the expansion of the college football playoff. I wouldn't mind it. I think it would be interesting. But once again, I'm not Bill Hancock. I would like to have Bill Hancock on this show at some point in time to discuss this with him, because that would honestly be a really good question to talk to him about, seeing could there be a point where the playoff could expand to 8 teams. I know right now with the 4 teams, it's gotten it done thus far. It's created a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz, a lot of energy. But AJB, that will definitely be a question where if I can have Bill Hancock, the executive director of the college football playoff, on this show, that will be a question for me to throw in his direction. Randy Harris writes in, Roll Tide, what a heck of a defensive game. Defense stepped up. Defense played well. Proud of that. AJB writes in, if Steve Sarkisian can recruit like Saban, I would trust Coach Sark as a Bama head coach. Coach Sark has now, in my opinion, put his name on the short list of coaches that could potentially take over at Alabama once Nick Saban decides to call it a career. He had a good showing tonight, stepped up in Saban's stead, coached a good football game, didn't do too much, didn't try to be Coach Saban. He was him. He was Sark, and that was exactly what we needed for, or Alabama needed for him to do. Aaron writes back in, I don't think anyone got hurt this game. No one got hurt badly. I know Najee had a slight little ding, but he came back in and finished the game, so no one got hurt badly. That's a good thing. No serious injuries. You're able to go into the LSU game where we could practice for LSU, full tilt, full prepared, full ready to go. But as always, Bama Nation, 205-448-1358. And I'm going to call in to get on the post-game show here, folks. Post-game show. Make this your show, your network right here to talk Crimson Tide football after the game. 205 448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Appreciate you guys chatting in on the chat line right now and calling in as you guys have been able to call in. But we'll get to a couple more of these comments here. We'll see if we can get a couple of calls in. If not, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up here. So Ronnie Collier writes in, Alabama owned Auburn. That it did, getting the 42-13 win. And Aaron writes in, not at Aaron, at AJB writes in, I was worried about Najee for a second when he was slow to get up in the second half. But he did get up. He did continue to play there in the second half. Najee Harris did. Randy Harris writes in, Auburn back where they belong. Bama, in-state, little brother. Auburn back. Randy Harris here, giving me a chuckle here on the post-game show here. Here we go. Waylon writes in, Ed O is going to be on the TDA show Monday. Ooh, okay. Getting Ed O in here. All right. Hasaki writes in, what happened to guys like Shane Lee? Shane Lee got out there. In the second half. Let's see here. Jalen Moody got out there in the second half as well. So, yeah, absolutely. So Shane Lee got out there. Jalen Moody got out there. Wouldn't mind seeing them play a little bit more, but they're continuing to take strides themselves and once again learning what Pete Golding, wants them to do within this defense here. Terry Clements writes in, wrong game for Bryce. Should have left him on the bench. Bryce, I mean, it was the right move to play Bryce in this game. It was the right move to play Bryce in this game. But I go back to a previous call that said Bryce should have been in on the play where Bam was in the red zone. That should have been the possession where Bryce should have took the field. Bryce should have been on that possession when Bama was in the red zone, whether he could have created something with his legs or threw off platform or handed the ball off to a running back. Bryce should have been in the game when Bama was in the red zone on that possession where, unfortunately, Brian Robinson had the fumble there. Aaron writes in, Billingsley making a spot for him on offense. It's what I've talked about. Steve Sarkisian trying to get more guys to pop on that side of the ball. U.S. Tide fans have been waiting for a tight end to show up and show out and give you something that you had when O.J. Howard was in the program, when Irv Smith was in the program, and now Alabama is starting to see that with the likes of Jaleel Billingsley. So let's see here. Terry Clements writes in, he got taken off after 2 plays, right? Bryce Young got taken out of the game after 2 plays. He had to hand off to Jace McClellan, and then unfortunately he got sacked on the next play. But I would have liked to have seen him in the game on the drive where Alabama was in the red zone. It was after it got the pick off of Bo Nix. Brian Branch made the pick. And, Mac Jones was in the game. He handed the ball off to Brian Robinson, and Brian Robinson with the unfortunate fumble there. But I think that Bryce Young should have more so been in the game on that play right there. Aaron writes in, what's up with Carl Tucker? Carl Tucker plays. He plays. He's out there as the blocking tight end. Would like to see him get used more in the pass protection scheme. I'll say this. Don't be surprised if you see more Alabama offensive players get used in the passing game as we venture into the postseason and the college football playoff. So that's going to be the big deal here. Watch to see more Alabama football players get worked into the offense in the passing game as we get into the postseason and the playoff. Jordan Battle did do an excellent job. Definitely AJB. He did. Jordan Battle played well. Final question here that we'll take comes from Hasaki. Last year, you raved about Ty Perine. What happened to him? That's a question that I really want to know, is what's going on with Ty Perine. Like, Charlie Scott's doing a pretty good job, but Ty Perine was the guy booming the ball 40 and 50 yards last year. I don't know what's going on. He's not in trouble. He's not in the doghouse. He's not made any type of issue or mistake. So we will see what becomes with Perine as well, because he is a tremendous talent. You got to get him on the field. Christopher Allen had a good game. Christopher Allen has stepped up tremendously this season. one of the leaders in sacks, one of the leaders in tackles for loss, one of the leaders in quarterback hurries. Proud of Chris Allen. He's come back from the knee injury he suffered in 2018, and he has been a tremendous part of this defensive front. But, folks, that's going to do it here for the post-game show, Touchdown Alabama Magazine post-game show. Appreciating everybody calling in. To the show, chatting into the show. Definitely happy for the win here. The Crimson Tide getting the 42-13 win over those Auburn Tigers, improving to 8-0, being the number one team in the country. Next week, the Tide will take on LSU, Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. For all of us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine, for the man P-Money, Patrick Dow, heading in the phone lines, I'm yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. This has been the post-game show. Tune in Monday where we return with In My Own Words, live from Tuscaloosa. Good night, people. Bama with the win. We'll see you on Monday.